we're not back. We packed up, we cleaned the lockers, and we left. That's how it kind of felt watching this game, especially those, if anything, the first half, if you will. Just watching that game was just abysmal.
Didn't get much better in the
Man,
second half.
yeah. And it's funny because I feel like this game could have at least been different, at least somewhat closer, even if we still lost. But like 30 and 13, Gino potentially injured for who knows how long. Sam Howell had an abysmal performance when he came out. Don't get it twisted. I didn't expect him to lead us to a miraculous,
But
win
the
over
defense
them.
gave him the opportunities. Like the stage was set. They forced multiple very short drives for him to go out there and put scoring drives together.
Yeah.
That's one thing to take away. And
I'll
we
take the
can't.
highlight being the defense in this game was they fought this game.
Yeah, and maybe it was too little, too late. They came out a little shell shocked in that first quarter, but especially for the defense that we've seen. But they definitely put the clamps on towards the end of it. But
Hmm.
also, we can't forget the injury to Olu. I think that played a big deal.
Oh yeah, our good old center that he literally was having a surprise season. I saw that disappointment on his face when he was on that sideline because I remember coming in and out from like the shower and I was like, nah, I need a shower to wash off this
The
potential
stink.
loss that's about to the stink, the stench of whatever's going on here. But yeah, I saw Olu on the bench and I said, man, what happened? And I was just like, oh, it's an injury because when you're looking like that, injury. Is he out for the season at that point?
They haven't said nothing yet about him either.
Okay, so we don't know about him or about Geno Smith. But let's talk about it, man. So,
Where
what
do
you
we
got to say
start?
about this game?
Uh,
Where would you like to start?
it just came at looked like we we are on the border of being a meme when it comes to playing at home like it is the Cowboys. Like we don't have a home field advantage. I don't know if you've got it, but we're gonna have a losing record this season at home.
That's
Think about
hmm
that. When was the last time we've said that in the modern era for us?
mm. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've
I
had like a losing record in the home, but I
I
mean,
mean, it might have
it's
happened, but it hasn't been as egregious as this one, right? Because we've been getting,
yeah,
not only have we been losing at home, we've been losing bad. We lose
big.
to Giants, Buffalo, Packers, Rams. Like all those games were losses at home, and they were pretty bad. Um,
Hmm.
but I think what this game kind of showed is once some folks started, having bad games, going out injured, this team is kind of held together by duct tape. And I hate
Oh
that
yeah.
and I hate that these guys made me believe because they make me believe every damn time. But, anytime something kind of, a little thing comes out of it's like a German car. German cars, they're notorious for like, oh, there's a slight amount, there's like an air bubble in here, the entire thing falls apart. One of those things.
Right. Hmm.
It kind of comes down to that like that for us. We've these last four games, we've had a good spell because we have had some consistency for once, I think.
Hmm.
And the consistency that we weren't consistently shit. We were consistently playing pretty well. Defense turned a corner. And then, something like on the offensive side of the ball where we couldn't string, two passes together, it seemed like it just got from bad to worse, I think.
Hmm.
What about
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, offense wasn't there, and we were kind of talking about this off camera, but we gotta kind of just you gotta put a little bit of a fire under Ryan Grubbs at this point of the season. We've given him many chances, right? He came in, new offensive coordinator, that's fine. Obviously, we know that our offensive line isn't the best. When has our offensive line been at its best, right? Since what, Unger and all of them? But it's just something like what is some things you can do? What are some things you can like schedule to help Gino with the inadequacies we have on the offense? What can we do to get the ball out of his hands, not hold on to it long enough? Because we don't want the Russell Wilson days of him holding on to the ball into a sack or something like that, right?
Actually, you know what? We didn't talk about this before. That actually brings up a good point because sacks, I think, are unfairly attributed only to the offensive line. But in recent years, it's been a kind of a modern thing where they kind of attribute it to a quarterback stat as well for holding onto the football too long, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there are situations where the quarterback can hold the football onto the football for too long because they're waiting for that Hollywood pass to make down the field, to a wide open receiver for a touchdown kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens because the scheme that you put out there doesn't give you a back out plan like a check down. We were checking down like crazy to Zach Charbonnet last game. I don't know why we just completely scrapped that. That was kind of an odd situation because Zach Charbonnet got those yards because they were playing over the top. They were playing really far
We
back.
talked about it last time. I was like, look at Zach. I said I didn't even know
Yeah.
we could do that. And the thing is, with Ryan Grubb is we'll have success in little pockets, but then it's like, hey, you're gonna at least go back to it, if it worked. But it's like, nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So Ryan Grubb, came from Washington, who was predicated on the air raid offense a little bit, or basically like at least going like basically intermediate to deep balls all the time.
When you got Penix, Odunze, Polk, McMillan, you kind of use what you got.
You use what you got. This is true, but that's what his offense was based on. And then coming into the league with the players that you have, obviously it's like, hey, this is the NFL. We got professionals at every single position.
Yeah.
But it's not working. Like we can't just turn our team into an air raid offense. If, for instance, like Tyler Lockett is not the Lockett of old, where he was the returner and the deep threat for the moon balls for most Russell Wilson. He's a lot older. I think he had an injury a little bit in this game. I remember that one moment he had to get off the field for a little bit. But
and I'm thinking to myself, man, you haven't taken a hit since like 2016. Like, what are you doing?
right. So things just that's how. I mean, he's been susceptible to a lot of more like minute injuries over the past few years. So you have that. JSN can go down deep, but it's like if every team knows that he's the deep threat, you know how to like make that deep threat out, and then all we have left is DK Metcalf. It doesn't feel like we have like a continuity in the offense. Like I said, the defense, you got McDonald, he can work with the defensive coordinator to like I think it's Aiden Grude to get into to say, hey, this is how I want the defense to be. And he's working with the defense without any extra pieces since we let all those extra pieces go. So I don't have any issues with our defense. I love our defense. Leonard Williams, good in my book. He has been a star on this defense for like several weeks now. I love that. Like he's making that trade look so like that. He's making that second round pick trade look a lot better.
I think
every single game.
He might be one of the better. Like the whole host of players went for second round picks. Like Chase Young, I think was it Montez Sweat or Josh Sweat, whichever Sweat, and somebody else. And I think Sweat is playing pretty good, but I haven't heard much from Chase Young. I don't know if he's out there still playing pretty well, but we might have. I mean, it might have not manifested last season, but we might have made off with the better player. I mean, yeah, sure, he's on the older side, but the impact
but he's a leader though, man.
He's a leader. Like, the impact that he has on that team, along with guys like Draymond Jones, a Jaron Reed, Nwosu is playing. I mean, we haven't had the Nwosu of old, which is something to keep an eye on as well too, because I don't even know like Jordan Love didn't even look bothered. I mean, he was making some great passes like that. Pass to Christian Watson. Christian Watson made a hell of a play on the ball. It don't matter who you are, you ain't defending that. Those kind of things. Yeah. But you got to generate a little bit of pressure. And maybe we did a good job with I think Josh Jacobs, and that's weird to say when he had 90 yards on and a touchdown. But he also had a fumble lost, and he did that on 23 carries. So we kept him to a pretty low performing game by his standards recently, at least.
Yeah.
But we just weren't able to get in Jordan Love's face because we know we can. They did it to us. You get in Geno's face, then he can make a mistake. That's how that red zone pick happened, right? Like if we're calling sacks quarterback stats, we should maybe consider calling picks offensive line stats as well. Forcing to make a decision that in a bad situation.
I mean, that's just splitting hairs now. If we get into who's the cause of that interception, because you're just going to be sitting there all day, either defending the quarterback, going against the quarterback. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Leonard Williams, he even had a TFL on Josh Jacobs, and I think it was he
blew him up
third quarter.
Yeah.
So think about that. Like
we get like
before.
If we had Geno in the game, it was set up for comeback win. Yes. And we had. It felt like 5 or 6 drives while being down by a score and a half. Like it was in the books. It's just we didn't have it there. We shouldn't be in that position, sure, but it was there for us to get if we wanted it.
Zach Charbonnet was there for us. He had our only touchdown and rushed for 54 yards on 8 carries. So I'm just saying, like, I know that one part is a game script, but the other part is like, come on. Where's anything to get Zach Charbonnet involved? He can catch, throw him the ball and stuff like that. So you got to put that on the offensive coordinator, not on Geno, because I bet you Geno would have loved to say, you know what, hey, Charbonne's going off on the ground and stuff like that. Don't besides the whole, we're losing.
Yeah, you were asking where the check down was. It could have been because they needed to use Zach Charbonnet more in pass protection too. There's just so many interdependencies. Let me ask you an interesting question though. I've loved what I've seen from Zach Charbonnet. He's kind of more my mold of a running back that I want. Somebody that can go inside between the tackles, shake off tackles,
Apparently, he can
catch the
catch.
ball.
He can catch and run up the field for a touchdown if he
Yeah.
wanted to.
Where how does that change the dynamic between Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet? Kenneth Walker, I mean, we've always called him 1A and 1B, but
Mhm.
it might like Kenneth Walker has always kind of been 1A, A is better than B, I guess, if you want to put it like that. But does that change things with what we've seen with from Charbonnet
No,
when Kenneth Walker comes back in?
I think we're seeing Charbonnet have a great, like just. This is I'm taking this from the article, but like a penny-esque leap in high-level performance, if you will.
Yeah.
Thank you, field goals. But like where do we go? Where do we go from here? It should pretty much just be just how Detroit Lions is using their two running backs today. That was the vision when we put second round picks into both K9 and Sharbo.
Yeah.
Those two should like we're kind of moving away from the era of the workhorse. We're not kind of. We've been moved away from the workhorse running back. It's just a matter of like who's a workhorse running back in this day and age. But that's our two running backs. And then, of course, we have McIntosh, too, from Georgia. Like, he's really good,
Yeah.
too. Our only issue with the offense these past some years is just giving our running backs more of a chance. Like, Zach Charbonnet, this is his season where he's gotten so many more, like, carries. That's the only reason why we know how good he is, because he's getting carries.
Yeah.
And compared to before, don't get twisted, I love K9. Like, make him, like, let K9 have those 100-yard games, but mix in Charbonnet, mix in McIntosh. You can give him a break and stuff like that, and then maybe we have two 100-yard rushing running backs in a game or something like that. Also, real quick,
That'd be something if we saw that.
oh, facts.
But I mean,
real quick,
yeah, go ahead.
real quick, though, I just want to give also a shout out to Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had another like 80 or 75 plus yard game, and I think that it's given him he has a Seahawks franchise record for 70 plus receiving yard games now. I think it's 4 or 5. So that's one, and then he's on, I believe, per an article, he's on the way to setting a new single season receptions record with just 16 more catches. So like that tells you everything that we found a star in JSN. So like so far, like I think overall, for me on my side, I think we found out about our team a lot more this year, and that's okay. I like it that we're digging into what we have on the roster as of today. We may not like it, but we're digging into this roster more and more. And I love the fact that like we found some stars, we found some duds, and that's okay. As long as you find the duds, you know what to do. Because McDonald already did that. He said we're moving on, trade, get out of here, wave.
I was about to say that too. I think the culture shift we're showing here is that we're not committing to hanging on to our mistakes. Like,
Yep.
Tyrell Dotson was a mistake. Jerome Baker was a mistake. In comes Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones, and instantly turns things around. Ernest Jones had a little bit of an off game. I think he kind of clamped it down towards the end. It just, I don't know what it is about home field for us this year, man. It's just not even.
It's just not our year. It's just let's just call it. It's not our year.
I'm of the mindset where any year anybody can win. I don't know if we said this on camera or not, but if the Giants can win 2 Super Bowls as 6 seeds, I think they were both 6 seeds both times. Anybody can win any year. It don't fucking matter. I think a Super Bowl run is any playoff run that you can make, because then it's just winning.
Can you see our Seahawks, our current Seahawks, with the injuries in place, beating Bills, Case? If we were to go,
we're
to
not
Super
the only
Bowl,
ones with injuries. Let's just say that.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
There have been some bad ones going around the league.
Yeah. Otherwise, I kind of like, hey, let this game show our Seahawks. Like I said, it's a litmus test, and I can at least say we're not ready for playoffs. If we do make it to playoffs, I will say we've overachieved for the season. Personally, won't say that's for you, but that's just how I feel on it.
I think the way that we're sitting right now, I don't think playoffs are in the picture anymore. I think we were pretty much locked. We had to win out. That was the scenario. I mean, we play the Vikings next. Tune into that video for the preview. I'm not optimistic, but that's kind of where we are with that one.
The Vikings, Bears,
and then Rams. And so it was always going to come down to the Rams, but we had to make sure it kind of came down to the Rams. So if we don't win these next two games, I think kind of puts
You
it
know,
in a weird situation.
what's really funny is I saw someone like tweet it or something like that where it said, what did it say? It says like the polls came in, like Seahawks fans have said that it's going to be decided at the very last game of the
Yeah.
season with the Rams, and I was like, I said that way
You
early.
said that like week 3.
Well, I did say that week 3, man.
Yeah, you just called it. You were like, "It don't fucking matter, man. This division's gonna come down to the last week."
The last week, I told you. So unfortunately, that's where we are. We're I think right now currently where the Seahawks are, they're second under the Rams because now it's the same record. So of course you gave it to the Rams because
Yeah,
they got the split, they got the win on
on
us
us.
so far. So otherwise, I love the little nuggets of glory that we could find in this game. Otherwise, we got to clean up shop, and I can't wait for the off season now.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, me neither, but we'll see how things shake out. I mean, I could tell you right now, I was already like, I told my cousin, I was like, cousin Nick, I was like, Manchester United won in like the last second and Sunday morning. I know that Seahawks can't win this evening now because I'm not allowed to have two nice things in one day.
Well, why'd you have to jinx us, man? You
It
telling
wasn't
me?
my fault.
Hey, I was on a cruise and it was my fault. Now you said that about Manchester United. Now it's your fault.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, that's it from us here at Missed Reps. Be sure to tune into the preview and the NFC West roundup that we have coming up. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time.
Peace.